Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, let's live life, and we're back. Here we are, at work. Time to drop another video for today's topic, the good things about prison. This is a video I've looked forward to doing. Got to thinking about the whole topic, and somebody commented, everything can't be bad. There's got to be some good things. There was a lot of good things about prison. So I get to going through my mind about all the good things about prison. And it's crazy. For every good thing I found about prison, it was like the gift and the curse. There was a good part to it, and there was a bad part to it. So it's like, yay, and then it's like, oh. You got your highs, you got your lows. It's good this happened, but then on the flip side of the coin, this happens. That's what we're doing today. The good things that have to come with prison. The upsides of things. The gift and the curse. How that same good thing can also be a bad thing. Why can't it just be good? You know how like you laugh with somebody, you could call that a good thing, but then fast forward and you and this guy get to fighting. So all the laughing just goes out the window. How finding yourself and who you really are is a good thing. Only to later on down the road find out that you're capable of doing something bad. All that's going to play into today's video. Without further ado, you know how to see it, you know how to live it, so let's relive it. Let's take a couple minutes to do a quick update on life. The eye is getting better. For anybody that missed the lives and wants to know what's going on with the eye, go back and watch the live streams from this weekend. If you didn't catch those, you missed two good shows. But the eye is getting better. It's still messed up. Still got double vision, still blurry, but it's getting better. I just hope I don't end up looking like that sloth from Ice Age. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. And a big salute to all the soldiers that we lost along the way. Also, big salute to all of our active and retired military as well. Had an eventful weekend. I did absolutely nothing. I sat around yesterday from around noon till about 10 o'clock last night, out back underneath the patio umbrella, watching Netflix on the laptop, watching different shows, caught a bunch of cool shows, right? But I did wake up yesterday and the HVAC system was not working. Woke up drenched in sweat. I have a 2-story house, so my room is upstairs. I wake up, me and my son are drenched, right? So I got to check out the system. I have a homeboy, Jeremy Sweet. Big shout out to my homeboy, Jeremy, for coming through. I know HVAC, but he is an HVAC technician. He does that for a living. I figured two minds are better than one. Called him over, we'll diagnose and figure it out. He shows up. My wife, my son, they're out doing some shopping. I'm at home. Me and the little girl, Bella, the one I spoke about that I now have, are at the house. I'm watching her. She's bouncing in the bouncy house, playing in the rocks and stuff, being a little girl out back. I'm underneath the patio umbrella. Jeremy shows up. We go over, we start messing with the unit, and she's still playing. And she runs by me, and I'm like, hey, come here. And she comes over to me. I said, how did you get mud all the way up your back? And I look, and I said, you really, that's not mud. So I had to stop what I was doing, take her upstairs, and wash her. I got through it, and we got the mud cleaned up off her back. Go Team J. My son is doing his best to adapt. He went from being a very spoiled child and not having to share everything to someone else playing with his toys. She has her own toys, but he feels like everything is his. So anything she has, he feels he should be able to play with, and he feels that he owns. He feels that if it's at this house, it is his. She gets second to everything. If she picks up a rock, hey, that's my rock. So I'm trying to teach him the importance of being a good person, of sharing, of being kind and loving. And it's not going over well through a 4-year-old's mind that is spoiled. But I'm working on it. Talked to some of the guys this morning at work, trying to get deeper into what's going on with my guys. I've come to find out some things are not what I thought they were. That's why you don't always jump to conclusions. It's best to talk to people. So I'm keep my eyes on things moving forward. And that's all I got for y'all. Let's get into today's stories. Now with today's video, there is no list. There is no forethought in what I'm about to say. Everything is just, when I think of the good things, it's straight off the top of the head. There's not going to be any numbers. It's not going to be categorized. It's just going to be item after item. And the first thing that comes to mind that is actually good about being incarcerated, good about being in prison or jail, is the friends you're going to make along the way. Now, let me tell you, I met friends at a young age in the system that I'm still friends with to this day. I met guys that never in a million years out here in society would I think we would be friends. We have nothing in common. How could me and you be friends? But you'd be surprised at the type of people you'll gravitate towards while being locked up. You'd be surprised once you're locked in a cell with a man 23 hours a day, how y'all can become to bond, how y'all can start to build a friendship. And that's the first thing we're going to talk on. In one of my other videos, I spoke on a guy that I met in the jail, a guy by the name of Danny. Me and Danny, at first, really weren't kicking it with each other like that. We wasn't rocking like that. But he ended up being my spades partner one day. My partner got jammed up, boom, boom. He goes to the hole. I like to play spades. I gamble out there. I need a spade partner. Danny used to be on the other table. I'd watch them play spades sometimes. I'd see him winning money, so I hollered at him, hey, I need a partner. You trying to play? Yeah, we'll gap the winnings, and if we lose, then we both split, what we lose. Bet. Me and Danny are like this, man. We get real close. This is my homeboy. Somebody I can talk to. This is my friend. Somebody I can pass time with. Somebody I can confide in. Somebody that if I get on that phone and I get some bad news, instead of internalizing it and just being what you would think everybody's going to be all macho and not talking about my feelings today, not telling anybody what's going on, he was one of those dudes that I could turn to and talk to about what I had going on. It's always good to have a friend in those type of situations. That is one of the good things about being incarcerated. The friendships, the bonds you're going to build along the way. Dun, dun, dun. Then comes the bad side to it. We fast forward. It's been about a year now. I've been through receiving. Was in the jail with this dude. I get to prison. Already through receiving, so now I'm at the prison I'm going to be at for the longest time, right? I run into him again. Immediately, it goes from being a gloomy day to a good day because I've got a friend. And having a friend, there's a whole bunch of expectations. I know what I will do if someone messes with one of my friends. I know that if you beat him up, you're going to have to beat me up. I know that if he's got problems, I got problems. I know that if he's hungry, I'm going to feed him. And I expect that in return. On the day in question, on the first day there at Greensville, my friend is standing there. Fast forward, 10, 15 minutes later, after I've been jumped by 3 guys, my friend peeled off and left me. I don't know what hurt more. Knowing that if he would have jumped in, there's a very good chance we could have won that 3-on-2 fight. The 3-on-1, I had no chance. None. Zero. I was done. That's one of the negative downsides of having friends. But then on the plus side of having friends, everything I mentioned in the beginning, that camaraderie, that not being alone, that having somebody to talk to, somebody to tell those street stories to, somebody that might hook you up with a girl, somebody y'all gonna talk about what you're gonna do when you get up out of here. I had a bunch of those conversations with guys that I consider to be my friends over the years. And you want to know what a heartbreaking situation is when it comes to having someone that's a friend and you're locked up with them? When you find out that as far as y'all's physical friendship goes, I mean, y'all being face to face, being able to kick it, dap it up, what's good with you, all that. When you find out that all that's going to end when you leave. I had a homeboy, my homeboy BK, and we used to always talk about when we got out, what we were going to do when we got out, plans for the future, which made me think he didn't have a whole lot of time. Made me think we got out around the same time. Then we get to talking one day, and I come to find out that not only do we have nowhere near the same amount of time, but pretty much he's got so much time that he'd have to die, come back to life, and then live another 20, 30 years just to get out. Pretty much that this guy I built a friendship with was never going home. It's great to have friends. I cannot reiterate. It is great when you got homeboys to be locked up with. It's great when you've got friends that you are locked up with. And it sucks the day you realize that man will never leave. Having friends to kick it with on a daily basis is great. And even though you want to see your friends go home, it sucks on the day you have to watch them leave. Because as they walk out the door, or as they watch you walk out the door, you have to say goodbye. My homeboy Dan Tron, shout out to Big Dan Tron. My dude, man. Much love to Dan Tron. Big light-skinned dude, known for knocking dudes out. That was his MO. Anybody out Hopewell, Richmond, Petersburg knows Dan Tron, knows what Dan Tron does. Old Mike Vest's best friend, right? Me and Dan Tron were thick of thieves in the penitentiary. On the day that he left, came to my cell, and I looked out my cell and I seen him headed towards the front. I didn't go up there and give him dap. I didn't say goodbye. I shut my cell door. Because inside I was hurting. I was losing somebody I'd grown close to. Somebody I'd spent years around. Somebody I knew that no matter what was there for me. And he was leaving out the door. We weren't going to be at rec today together. We weren't going to go out and lift weights together. We wasn't going to spin the track and smoke together. Our time of kicking it had come to an end. I see him, he's going towards the front. Whatever, man. I throw my music on, I turn back around in the cell as if I'm not doing nothing, and he shows up at my door. Well, you thought I was going to leave without saying bye, Jay? Go on, man. Nah, man, pop the door open, man. Give me a hug, man. Come on, man. I want to see him go, but I don't want to see him go. I pop the door, give Big Dude a hug. Hey, man. I love you. Be safe out there, bro. Please don't come back. At this point, I still got 5 or 6 years to do. The friends you're going to make along the way, they're not just part-time. Some guys are flawed on the fact that they only make these friends and have these friends while they're locked up. I am not one of those men. You will talk to men in the future that I've done time with, and they'll tell you that from the moment I hit the streets, I made sure that they didn't go hungry. I made sure that money stayed on that phone. Some people would see that as a burden. Man, you got a friend. That means now you got to look out for him. Now you got to come out of pocket every week on his commissary. What if you got 10 friends? You'll go bankrupt. Yes, it can be a burden. Yes, it can get expensive real fast. But you figure it out. If you can't send number 20 to each one, that's what you do. To me, they're not burdens. To me, they're friends. It's the gift and the curse. But it balances itself out. The last thing I'm going to touch on when it comes to friends is people are one thing when they're locked up. That's when you get to really see who somebody is. If they were dealing with something and now they're away from that while they're locked up and they've gotten back to their natural self, you get to see the better side of them. Until bad things happen, then you see the bad side of them. But you don't know them on the streets. So you don't know what they were out there doing. You don't know who they really were when they were caught up in their madness and they had a gun in their hand, or they had a needle, or they had a pipe. All you know is that he's a solid dude in here. Now you fast forward, and I've had this happen. And you run into this dude that you were friends with in prison. I ran into a dude one time that was outside of a gas station that I had done plenty of years with. And I was happy to run into him. And when I ran into him, he wasn't the same person that I once knew as my friend. You should say, or could say, Jay, you're flawed in saying he's not the same person that he was when you were locked up with. I am correct in saying what I just said, because he didn't resemble the same person that I was locked up with. He didn't act like the same person I was locked up with. And all his loyalty and morals had gone all the way out the window once he got out. So that is at the top of my list of good things about prison. Good things about incarceration, good things about going away. The friendships, the bonds you are going to build along the way. But just remember, there's the gift and the curse. There's the good and the bad. There's always two sides to that coin. Let's get into the next one. This next one is something we've spoke on in the past. People battling their addictions. Getting locked up is a surefire way to quit something. You'd be amazed. You can smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and go to jail. It's impossible to quit smoking cigarettes on the streets. It seems like you just can't do it. Well, that's because you've got people around you always smoking. You might not even be thinking about a cigarette. Then the moment you smell somebody spark one up, you gotta have it. The same thing goes for being locked up. At the moment the handcuffs get put on you and you go hauled down to the station, there is no more smoking. You don't fiend for a cigarette. You don't want a cigarette. You don't think about a cigarette. But let the slightest smell of a cigarette come across you. Let an officer come in from his break and he just smoked and you smell it on his clothing. Immediately, you want to smoke. Guys that have struggled with addiction their entire lives get locked up. And whether they like it or not, they're about to, become clean. I was locked up with a dude named Terry. And I knew Terry from Southside, from around the way. I'd seen him growing up throughout my years. I'd seen him here, I'd seen him there. Terry had done a good job at not getting locked up. He was an okay criminal, if you can be an okay criminal. I'm in the old Chesterfield jail, and I'm in the drunk tank. And they're bringing in new guys, and the gate pops. And Terry's a tall white dude. And in walks Terry. Now, it's taking him a couple, probably upwards of 10, 12 hours to get processed, and to the point that he's in here with us. He's been down in booking. He's been fingerprinted, mugshotted. He's been showered, dressed out of his street clothes and into the jail clothes. It's a process to get from point A to point B. Terry had a real bad dope habit on the streets. By the time he gets up to where we're all at, he's full-fledged dope sick. Ain't no telling how long he was in handcuffs in the back of that car. You could be going on 14, 15 hours now before he's made it from the moment that he got handcuffed to the point that he's now where I'm at. When he comes in, I'm not coming off nothing. I'm sober as can be. I'm not detoxing. I'm level-headed. I'm straight-minded. I see him come through the door. He doesn't look like what I'm used to seeing. He's detoxing. One of the good things about being incarcerated is if you want to get off of drugs, if you want to get away from whatever has grabbed a hold of you, that is the perfect time to do it. I watched Terry curl up all the way over there beside the toilet, throw up, use the bathroom all over himself, void all bowels, and just lay there and shiver in a ball with his blanket over him. They would come in and pass out trays. The man wouldn't even get up to eat. He was battling his demons, fighting them full-fledged. We fast forward a couple of years, maybe like 4 years. He's been to a couple of different prisons. Boom, he lands where I'm at. Knowing his history on the streets, well, the first thing that came to my mind is this penitentiary I'm in is like the projects. Anything you can find on the streets is right here. Only difference is you ain't got to drive across town to go get it or wait on a dope boy to meet you at a store. You can walk one cell over. Hey, what's up? You straight? And you can cop dope just like that. The same hour you land on this compound, you can get a needle. Terry shows up here. I see him on the rec yard. Terry done got back. Looks better than he's ever looked in the entire time I've known him. Dude just done put some size on. He done got some color to him. He done tanned up. Got tattoos on him now. Dude looks super, super healthy. I judged him as soon as I seen him, man. First thing I thought is, this ain't a good place for him to be, being a recovering addict. I know he's going to get high. Terry didn't get high. I mentioned that to him. I said, man, don't be up here ripping and running, man. It's the wrong place for that. Like, these boys got that pie out. They got that dope that'll lay you down. They done took many up out of here that didn't never walk again, didn't never talk again, left with their heartbeat stopped, like, woke up in heaven. Facts. You don't want to mess with none up here. And Terry told me, I don't get high no more, Jay. Getting high ruined my life, man. Look at where I'm at. This getting high put me in here. How would I look after losing my life, my physical life, my being outside of here, to this addiction, and then coming in here and getting high? Very true statement. I was proud of him. I was proud to hear that. I was proud to know this man had got a grip on it. He finally understood it. He learned to hate it. You have to learn to hate it to overcome it. I try to explain that to you. When you start to dislike something, you won't do it anymore. Even if you have to be sick to get away from it, you'll stop. Terry did that. That is one of the good things about being incarcerated. Going through the jail, there's not going to be as much drugs as there is in prison. So you have that time period, that gap of time to get clean. Then comes the bad side. I had met guys that came into prison that had never done drugs, had never done dope, had never been on no hard narcotics, and then left prison with full-blown drug habits. The last place I was at, I'm just going to call dude L. Last place I was at, we had a big L and a little L. That's how I'm just going to say it, because both these dudes had the same name, but we referred to them as big and little just to separate the two. Little L was locked up behind a dispute that took place with his dad. His dad tried to steal some weed. He caught his dad stealing the weed. Him and his dad get to fighting. His dad calls the cops. The cops show up. He's got all this weed package, gun, all these different things going on. He gets sent off to prison. Upon coming to prison, the most he had ever done was pop some pills, smoke some weed, a little bit of lean here and there, and drink. He was like 19 at the time he got locked up. 6-year sentence. Comes out when he's like 24, 25. When he came to prison, he had no habit. He had no serious drug habit per se. His bunkie was a heroin user. His bunkie turned him on to snorting the dope. I started to find out by looking at him. First, I peep it because I can see it. I'm around him all the time. We all, swap in and swap out when it comes to working out together. We work out at times together. We laugh and joke at times together, and we meal up sometimes together. I start seeing him hang out more with this dude, and I know this dude is chasing dope. I watch him chase dope. I watch him go out on the yard with bags of coffee on him and all the stuff he can get trying to cop. I see him on the phone begging his people to send money. Now Lil L's all up next to this dude, kicking it. Wherever he's walking, he's walking. I see this dude nodded out, and I see a homeboy nodding out with him. Up there in the front of the day room, watch TV with his glasses on like nobody sees him. He's nodding out. He's done picked up a habit in prison. A place that you can get rid of a habit. He has now gained one. I talked to him after I got out. Got talking to this person, talked to this person, and I got his number to a friend. He said, hit him up. I'm thinking he would come home, do right. He talked about how he had a kid. His girl was doing him wrong, but he was going to mend their relationship. He was going to be a father. But he also talked about how she had started getting high while he was incarcerated. I told him, I do not think it's a good idea you go home and be with her. Because the two of y'all, with what y'all got going on, is not going to end well. Two addicts cannot be together. Especially with her being actively getting high. And you saying you don't, but we all know that you do. I hit him up on the phone expecting a completely different outcome to the conversation that would take place. I offered the man a job. How you doing? Oh, I'm good, man. What's up with you? It's good to hear from you. What you doing? Oh, I'm walking right now, man. I'm headed to the bus station. I'm about to jump on the bus and head across town. I got some things to do. Well, I'm trying to come through and kick it with you, man. See what's up with you. I'll swing through and pick you up. Yeah, that's good, man. But I'm trying to sell this laptop right now. You trying to buy a laptop, Jay? You work for Best Buy? You a door-to-door salesman? Nah, this is my laptop. And I didn't say that to him, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm being funny. He's trying to sell his personal laptop for next to nothing because he's getting high. We get into the conversation. I said, so what you been doing since you've been out, man? Oh, man, me and old girl ain't work out, man. I found out she slept with a gang of dudes while I was gone. She's all strung out when I got man. I dibble and dabble. Dibble and dabble means you get high. Or what you dibbling in? I be messing with the Ron, the boy, the train. So he's getting high. I told him, look, man, compose yourself, get yourself together, and I'll help you live a better life. If you want a job, I'll help you get clean, and I have a job waiting for you. But you have to be willing to meet me halfway. He's currently locked back up, doing a rack of time, behind stealing to feed his addiction. Now, there's the double side to the good thing about prison or jail. The fact that you can come in and get clean. You can also come in and pick up an addiction. And as an addict, you can go in and get clean. Yay. And then get to prison and go right back to being an addict. You can come in and make the world think that he's doing good in life. Yay. He's doing good. This is good. This is great. And then they get a phone call that you were found OD in your cell or in a stairwell or on the rec yard. I've seen it happen. There's good and bad in everything now. I told y'all that. Let's get into the next one. How you spend your time while locked up is very, very important. You have all types of options on how you can live your day-to-day life. If you like boys, oh, you're going to be in heaven. A boy being a gay guy, you can chase boys all day. If you like drugs, oh, you're going to be in heaven. You can chase drugs all day long. If you like whatever, it is there. If you gangbang, you're going to be surrounded by gangbangers. Y'all can throw up gang signs and gang calls and violate each other all day long. Early on in my bid, I did not adapt well. I adapt fine to prison. I don't adapt well to stupidity. So I found myself in and out the box, fighting behind petty things, sticking my nose where it didn't belong, sticking up for this person. People ask me, why didn't you stick up? I have stuck up for people, and that's why I stopped, because it ultimately affects me in the worst way. I was lucky enough that the places I was at, the state I was doing time in, offered schooling. They offered trades. That was something I cashed in on. That is a great thing. That is a good thing about being locked up. I got my GED while incarcerated. I got my JED while incarcerated. I studied for the test less than a week. Some of these guys have been studying 6 months. And when I came into class, the lady's name, ironically, was Miss Williams. She said, you might want to wait until next time to take the test because you've only been in the class a couple days and testing is coming up this week. I said, I want to take the test. At least if I fail, I'll know what I need to work on. I passed the GED test with flying colors. Hadn't been to school in forever. Fractions, all that stuff, writing essays, boom, no problem. Passed with flying colors. Got my JED. Those first few years of prison were very, very rocky. And then I decided I'm going to do something different. So I got on the maintenance crew. I started working again. I always worked in the streets. I always worked construction in the streets. Even when I was doing bad and I was out here committing crimes, I always kept a gig. Something to guarantee a paycheck into my pocket. Like I said, there's never a such thing as having enough money or enough sources of income. So I kept a job on top of hustling, on top of robbing and all the bad things I should be doing. I would work at day, and then come nighttime, I'm like somebody else. I transform into the street dude. Year after year after year, getting in trouble in prison. I said, all right, this ain't what it is. This is all bad. I'm tired of spending summers back there in the box, losing weight, coming out looking like a Holocaust survivor. I've got pictures I got to show y'all of when I had dropped 50 pounds from being in the hole for a year. I come out and I look like a cancer patient, and you could see that I was malnourished and like next to death because I've been in the hole so long. That's how bad it is. I get this maintenance gig. Really good with my hands. I'm good at fixing things, problem solving. A robot will never be able to replace me because a robot cannot improvise. I can improvise. I can take a bag of bolts and make something. I can take a bunch of pipes and make something. I'm good at stuff like that. I was good on the maintenance crew. They enjoyed having me. I enjoyed being there. I wanted to get licensed in a lot of different trades. Electrical, plumbing, general maintenance. So I went to school. Busted my ass. While in prison, I'm going to class. Day in and day out. I'm working this job in there. Fixing things around the prison. This part of the prison. It gave me the benefit of being able to move all around the prison. To get to sections of the prison that other guys had never seen. The basement of the prison. Other guys had never seen. The rooftops of the prison. Other guys had never seen. The job came with a lot of benefits. And it got me outside of the pod. It got me away from all the madness that was taking place day to day in there. It was kind of my escape. It also got me bumped to the top of the list when it came to school. You could put in to go to school, and this class might take 4 years to complete. 4 years of college. Southside Community College is a college that came into Greensville that held our classes. With me having the maintenance job, some guys had been on the list 2 years waiting. I went right to the top of the list because it was proven that I was actually going to do this. I wasn't just trying to do this so I'd maybe get over there and hang out in the classroom. My homeboy, it was from another building. I wasn't trying to do this just to screw off. It was proven I was one of the guys that was going to go home and put these trades to use, and I did. I studied. Day in and day out, I went to these classes. I messed with plumbing. I did mock-ups of electrical. I ran wiring. I put in panel boxes and breakers and GFIs, and I wired up whole mods. I ran rough-ins for plumbing, and I did all this stuff until I got licensed. Then when I get to the next compound, they had an upholstery shop. I did all that stuff until I got licensed. That is a great thing about being locked up, right? To get licensed, to take a trade. A lot of these guys had never worked a job in their life, had sold drugs their entire life, had nothing to go back on, figured they didn't have a chance in the world. Now they're offering you a trade. Something that will feed you for the rest of your life. You now have a skill set. Hooray, hoorah. Then comes the downside to it. Guys got jealous. I hate this about inmates, not convicts. Inmates will do what I'm about to tell you. Inmate will complain about everything. A convict minds his own. The inmates, the few and select, paper pushers, the ones you always see complain about something. I'm going to write this guy up. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I'm going to put this request form in. Oh, I'm pushing this all the way to the top of the chain of command. Put my letter in. Those type of guys started dropping slips in the request form box saying they felt discriminated against because we were getting licensed and had certificates for things we had accomplished within the prison, and that they didn't get a certificate, so they felt their rights had been violated. I worked to get that certificate. I worked to become licensed in that trade. And because you saw me with a certificate, you feel that you were shunned on, that I am being treated different than you. This is a fact. So prior to me getting into my trades, they no longer gave us our licenses. They no longer gave us our certificates. They would mail them home. Now, I asked this question when I started school. I said, is in any way, shape, or form prison going to be attached to the card, to my electrical card, to my plumbing card, to my general maintenance card? Is it going to say prison on it? And they're like, no, you don't got to worry about that. No, it says Southside Community College. Thank you. Because the last thing you want to do is walk onto a job. Well, are you licensed? Yes, sir, I am. Let me see your license. And you pull out your license to them and it says, man, this shit says prison on it. Man, if you don't get your country ass up out here, take this shit on somewhere. I'm under the inclination that's not what it says. I had everything sent to my mom's house. My OSHA certifications. I had so many different things I went to school for that I busted my ass to get so that I could use them to become what I am today. I get out, my mom had saved all these things up for me and put them in a big manila envelope and had them in a filing cabinet at her house. She had my GED along with every other thing I had accomplished along the way. Thank you for a change, productive citizenship, serve safe if I wanted to go into the restaurant business. I mapped out all these different options and opportunities for the things I wanted to do when I got out. She hands me this envelope and I open them and I start pulling out these certificates, things I'm licensed in, and I'm feeling good about it. I go to my plumbing license and the first thing I see is licensed plumber, such and such Williams, Southside Community College, issued by Greensville Correctional Center. I didn't just say, this don't say, that does, what it, damn! It says Greensville Correctional Center on it. It's prison right on my trade. I worked so hard to get this and y'all just smeared it, just polluted it and diluted it by attaching prison to it. So once I got out, even though I was licensed, I kind of renewed it, if that's what you want to call it. I took a short course. It hadn't expired, but I took a renewal course to have it reissued to me. And then it was reissued through the class that I went through, and it no longer said prison on it. So it was a great opportunity to learn a lot of trades for guys that had done nothing but sold drugs their whole life, done drugs their whole life. They learn trades, but then you come out and the prison is attached to the damn certificate, to the license. But all in all, there's not much bad I can say about learning a trade or learning to feed yourself or doing more than you had done in life, other than the fact that they put the damn name of the prison right there on the thing. Like when you show up to a big electrical company and everybody else pulls out their license and it's from a local electrical school, and you whip yours out and yours looks completely different because in green writing, it's got Greensville Correctional Center on it with your course instructor's signature on it. Oh. And I did get some weird looks when I went to do the renewal, which wasn't new yet. What school is this? Southside Community College. I ain't never heard of this. Yeah, it's out in Emporia, Jarrett, Virginia. Yeah, what is Greensville Correctional Center? What does that mean? It means I was locked up and I got my shit together. Is that going to be a problem? Oh, no, sir. Just pay us the money like everybody else. Take the test, and you're good to go. The last thing on this list is probably one of the most important things on this list. While incarcerated, you are going to find out who you really are. You're going to do a lot of soul searching. You're going to have a lot of time to think. You're going to have a lot of time to reflect and look back on life. You're going to find out what you're made of. You're going to be tested. For you trolls, you Lewinsky's that talk all that smack behind the keyboard, that get on there and leave their little slick comments. In prison, you're going to find out if you're just a guy that leaves a comment or a guy that's going to stand up behind what he says. You're going to find out what happens when you come out your mouth sideways. That stuff you did on the streets is not going to fly. Taking your mama's house phone down to the bedroom, stretching the cord all the way around the corner, and running your mouth to somebody you know that'll beat your ass, ain't going to fly in prison, because you're going to have to see that man. Everything you've suppressed over the years, your childhood, trauma, things you may have went to drugs for or drinking for, things that you tried to bury deep within yourself, they're going to surface, and you're going to have to come to terms with them. You are truly going to find out who you are. I told this story in the past, and I'm going to touch on it for any new viewers or guys that missed this episode. My mother came to me one time. I think I was maybe 7 years in on my 10-year sentence, and I remember this very, very clear because it was a defining moment in my life. I was maybe 7.5 years in on a 10-year sentence. And I was sitting in a visiting room with my mother. My son was there that day and another family member. We were having a conversation. And she was like, "Baby, you almost at the gate." I said, "Yeah, Mom." She's like, "It's been a long time you've been gone." Yeah, I was sitting in these penitentiary blue jeans, pair of pro Timberlands, button-up blue shirt with my prison ID clipped to my pocket. "I know you're ready to come home. You look good. Proud of you. I know you're going to get out and do right. You ready to come home, right?" And I was honest in that moment. "No, Mom, I'm not ready to get out." And she gave me this crazy look. Like, how could you say you're over 7 years in on a 10-year sentence and you're not ready to come home? I wasn't ready. I was still doing things here and there that I shouldn't be doing. I still, after getting caught, was doing things I shouldn't be doing. I was still trying to be slick. There was still a lot of the old Jay in me I was struggling to let go of. I'd been this way for so long. I didn't know how to be any other way but the way I was. I was Jay every day. And I was currently working on reinventing myself, keeping the good parts of me and learning how to get rid of the bad parts of me. I can't say I'm ready to come home when I've got a temper that snaps like that and I'm punching people in their face whenever I don't get my way or whenever my heartbeat increases or my blood pressure goes up. Because when I come home, if I do that this evening, I'm going back to prison. No, I have to get these things figured out before I get out of here or I'm going to return, Mom. I wasn't ready to come home. I worked on myself, found out more about myself, my likes, my dislikes. I got to the root of why I was the way I was. That was one of the gifts that was given to me with being incarcerated. That time of self-reflection, of looking back on life, on having to deal with the things that I had tried to internally keep in, the emotions I had to keep in, dealing with the guilt that was associated with the crimes I committed, the people I had hurt, the lives I had messed up. I had come face to face with who I was, what I had become, and learning who you are, which is going to happen while being incarcerated. Because like I said, you have nothing to do but think. You lay in your bed at night and you think. You think back on situations that you didn't even remember. And you see where you were fraud, where you were, fouled for what you did in that moment. You see how your madness impacted others. For once in life, you have to come to terms with the shame, the guilt, the disgust you feel with yourself. You truly get to the core of who you are as a person. If you're a scared person, someone that don't want to fight, over the years, unless you just curl up in a ball and cry your way or beg your way out of every situation, over the years, you're going to become a man. You're going to find yourself in situations where you're either going to fight or you're just going to be somebody's punching bag. And I've seen punching bags start to punch back. I've seen the victim become the bully. I've seen a guy early on in his bid that was scared to death, that used to take them ass whoopings, years down the road, be over there stroking with somebody, feeding them, able to take a punch. You learn who you are. Nothing will break you down to your core essence more than being stripped of all the luxuries that life has to offer, than being stripped of all the distractions that come with day-to-day life. Sleeping by yourself, not having a shoulder to cry on, not having your mommy there, not having your daddy there, not having somebody to run to, not being able to run from your issues. All those are going to help mold you in to the person that you need to be. For me, and I spoke about this in the beginning with Terry, I come to hate who I had once been. I come to hate the things I had done. I felt so much guilt for the pain I had inflicted on others. And I don't say that because the camera is rolling. I say that because that is the truth. For the first time in my life, I was filled with remorse for my actions, for the things I had done to people. I come to learn that I had a big heart. I come to learn that I cried during parts of movies that most people don't cry at. I come to really find out who I was. I didn't have to wear a mask to pretend to be anything that I wasn't. I didn't have to put on for people around me. I could let down the facade and be Jay. I grew into the person that you see today. Who I am now isn't exactly who I was while I was incarcerated. I did have to be more violent. I did have to keep a wall up to keep from letting people get too close to me. But in finding out who you are, you also find out what you are truly capable of. Like that man I spoke of that was that punching bag, that wasn't a violent man, that never had hurt anybody, that was in there behind stealing, had never physically harmed another human being. He come to find out, not only was he capable of hurting people, but he was very good at it. Prison will break you down to the very essence of who you are. When you can't run and hide from your problems and you got to man up and your little keyboard fingers get you punched all in your face and get your eyes knotted up and get you black and blued, you change. Prison will either make you a better person or it will make you worse than you ever imagined. A lot of that is going to play into how you handle the situations that are presented to you. If you run from things in prison, I can promise you, you will run the rest of your life. My son years ago dealt with a school bully and he begged me, "Dad, please transfer me out of the school. I can't go back. I'm scared of him." And I guess you could say my parenting aspects kicked in and me as a man kicked in. And I said, "Son, I can't allow you to run." Because in the real world, you're going to have to deal with people that you don't get the option of running from. You're going to work jobs with people you don't like. And you don't get to just quit your career midway because you don't get along with old Bobby over there and Bobby intimidates you. You're going to have to get up and go to work tomorrow to continue to feed your family. I cannot allow you to run from your problems. I've not ran from mine and I won't let you run from yours. And he said, "Dad, but I'm not like you." I said, "But you are." It's my job to make sure that you get the best parts of me. And one of the best parts of me is I don't run. I face the things I'm afraid of. I face the things I fear. I face adversity head on. Prison put that in me. Prison at times also brought out the worst in me. But I do thank my incarceration for helping me to become who you see today. I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again so you know I didn't make a mistake in saying it. If I was to see the judge, Judge Gill, or the prosecutor that put me away, I would shake their hands. Me going off to prison was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm not saying to become a good person, go to prison. Do that in the streets. Don't have to take those trips. Don't leave your family to fend for themselves. Be a man. Don't let prison be what turns you into a man. Don't have to go through all that to find out who you are. But that is what I went through. It took that for me to become who I am today. Had I not learned out who the real Jay was, had I not come face to face with reality and everything I'd done, all the pain I had caused, the misery, the suffering, all of that combined, I wouldn't be who I am today. To be honest with you, 100% with everybody watching, and I know this without a shadow of a doubt, had I have not gone to prison, I would be dead. I would not be here today. Had I have gone to prison 6 months later than what I initially went, I probably would have never gotten out. Because the road I was traveling only had one outcome, and that was death. For me or my ops. For me or the people that I was going against. If you find yourself incarcerated, think back on everything we just talked about. Most importantly, reflect. Take time to come to terms with who you are, what you've done. Make amends. Come out a better person than you went in. Don't allow prison to make you an animal, because it can. I've seen it happen. I've seen good men go out and they come out monsters. I've seen guys go in and deal with things, bottle everything up, and then explode when they release. You see it on the media. Recently released inmate comes out, kills 3. It happens. And that's because guys are not dealing with what they have going on inside. I went to counseling, therapist. I did all that so that you all could see the change. I did it so that I could be a father and that I could be the best version of who I am. Thank y'all for watching today's video. I enjoyed this video. Thank you for sticking around to this point in the video. These are the things y'all need to hear. A lot of people need to listen to what I say. I'm not going to say I'm always right, but I believe in what I say, and I stand behind the things I say. I may say things along the way throughout my YouTube career that looking back on them like, maybe I phrased that the wrong way. But I stand behind everything I said in this video. That is my truth. On another tip, I slimmed down from 225 to 195. Stepped on the scale last night expecting it still to say 198. It was 195.6. I feel good about that. Back when I was drinking, I put on a whole lot of weight. The alcohol will do that. Drinking 6 Red Bulls a day will do that. I've cut back to 2 a day. I diet. I'm way more active. I wanted to be more in shape. I wanted to be around to see my kid graduate, to see my son get married. And in order to do that, I had to take better care of Jay. And that's what I've been doing. Trying to cut down on the stress, cut down on the unhealthy eating, and look out more for self. You got to look out for you, because at the end of the day, nobody loves you the way you should love you. I'm going to leave y'all with that, man. But anyways, these jails, detention centers, these prisons and facilities, they're all just crazy worlds inside of this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Man, y'all know how we do. Salute.